This was an aircraft that started out as a fighter design but by mistake became a bomber. With its unique shape and unprecedented design concept, it was a marvel of the aviation industry at the time and almost became the first jet bomber. It was fate that we met, so let's give a round of applause to the futuristic Martin XB51 three-engine bomber. At the end of 1944, the German Nazis' crazy miracle weapon had the US Army Air Corps in a bit of a daze, and if it weren't for the American money, it would have been hard to tell who would have fallen first. The US Army, stimulated, quickly issued a series of new aircraft bids, including a new type of ground attack aircraft, requiring speed, firepower and battlefield survivability, against the German miracle weapon. After several rounds of bidding, Martin, which had not yet merged with Lockheed at that time, killed the competition with its own XA-45 proposal, which was an oddity, with 4 engines in 2 engine nacelles, each fitted with 1 turboprop and 1 turbojet engine, a standard air hybrid. But there was nothing to criticize, the first generation of jets. Weak power could not be helped and increasing numbers was the idea of the solution. But with the end of World War II, the US Army Air Corps began to have a change of heart and mulled over the idea of changing the XA-45 case to a close support bomber for all-weather use. Since the customer wanted to change it, Martin had no choice but to work with great enthusiasm to change the program for the customer. After the war, the US Army was able to obtain a great deal of secret German information through Operation Paperclip, and in addition to gaining an insight into engine technology, a Me P.1102 design from Messerschmitt was an eye-opener for Martin engineers. The military was pleased with this positive response and immediately gave the XB51 its number, placing an order for 2 prototypes at a price of $9.5 million to test the waters first. In contrast to the XA-45, the XB51's entire design was a complete redesign. The aircraft changed from a flat, straight wing to a 35-degree swept-back wing design, which was quite advanced at the time and significantly improved flight performance. The powertrain abandoned the original tangled hybrid configuration in favor of 3 GM J47 turbojet engines, arranged in almost identical fashion to the Me P.1102. One engine is located at the rear of the fuselage, with the air inlet at the rear and integrated into the T-shaped drogue. The other 2 are suspended under the front of the fuselage like secondary fuel tanks and can be rocket-boosted for takeoff. The advantages of this layout are obvious, as the yawing moment that would result if a single engine failed could easily be overcome. But the disadvantages that I can think of are the restricted size of the engines and the high center of gravity of the aircraft. For this reason the XB51, like the later B-52, used the popular bicycle-type landing gear of the era, with the front and rear main landing gears supporting each other, increasing stability and carrying capacity, while also reducing weight. The strange 6-man crew of the original XA-45 was also streamlined to 2, but the treatment was quite different. The pilot's bubble-shaped cockpit has an excellent observation view, while the navigator and bombardier is confined to the rear fuselage, where he can only look at the sky through a small circular window on the right side of the fuselage, in addition to looking through the scope. As the jet was so fast that when the belly hatch opened, the resulting air pressure difference would hold the bombs in the bomb bay and prevent them from being dropped. Martin's engineers also designed a new rotating bomb carrier that rotated the weapon hatch 180 degrees to drop the bombs out of the body as they approached the target, and then turn the hatch back to its original position after release. The first XB51 prototype flew in October 1949 and the newly formed USAF had the world's first high-speed jet bomber. This was followed the following year by the successful test flight of the second prototype. The second aircraft was more complete than the first. With the 8 20mm guns originally intended for the nose in place, 1,280 rounds of ammunition and a maximum load of 4,760 kilograms, the new generation of bombers was ready to go. Unfortunately, when the Korean War broke out in 1950, the USAF changed its mind again and upgraded the original close support bomber program to a new close raid bomber. The change of name necessitated a new tender for the North American B-45 Tornado, the AJ-1 Savage, and the CF-100 from Avero Canada, the British GEC Canberra bomber. They all came together with Martin's XB51, which was a real nuisance. The XB51's battlefield assault capability was particularly impressive among its competitors, with a practical lift of 12,600 meters and a flight speed of Mach 0.89. Making it difficult for even the best F-86s of the time to intercept effectively, and its low hover radius figures were quite impressive. But the 3 engines also consumed too much fuel, and as a direct result the XB51's range was too short, and its endurance did not even meet the minimum requirements of the Tactical Air Command. The airframe structure is also weak, with a maximum maneuver overload of only 3.67 g, making it unsuitable for high-intensity battlefield environments. After careful review, the Air Force announced that the British GEC Canberra bomber, B-57, had won the tender. Although the government paid for the production of the prototype from the design plan to the production of the prototype, it was hard work for a while, and it was still aggravating for Martin that the XB51 did not end up in service. To compensate, the Air Force contracted them to produce 250 B-57s, and all of the XB51's rotary magazine technology was used on the B-57. The two remaining prototypes went on to NASA to continue their test flying careers, only for all of them to crash one after the other, leaving nothing left of this uniquely shaped and advanced design jet star in the end. Thanks to all you poons for reading to the end. Although this edition of the XB51 is bland and not much of a story, it may still be worth your time to give me credit. Follow me to bring you interesting tech stories. See you next time.